Okay, everybody. Let's just take a look at the colors and then we'll do pace. See how everybody's arrived today.
Very good.
Okay. Ruth?
All good.
Yeah.
Lise?
Yes, I would.
You can write it in the chat.
Oh, oh.
Okay, well we'll just continue and hopefully at the end it will all be great. I'm no good at solving technical problems. So I thought today that we would start with our feet. So let's just take a little walk around and just notice our feet, how they make contact with the floor. Notice the connection from your feet to the top of your head. And then if you stand still for a moment, just notice where your weight is resting on your feet, where you feel the pressure of the floor against your feet or vice versa. And then we will do some work on our feet. Cheers. Have some water to start with. So we're going to do our foot ritual, which we haven't done for quite a while, and at least this may be somewhat new for you. So we're going to start by wiggling 2 toes at a time. I sort of do circles in the opposite directions like I'm creating a figure 8 with both toes. And then you take your index toe and your middle toe and do the same thing. Working your way down, middle toe, fourth toe. And lastly, fourth toe and pinky toe. And then we're going to do the kidney 1 point on the ball of our foot. I'm sorry about the lighting. It's just that we got a lot of snow, and so it's all reflecting white light into the windows. I don't have any lights on in here. And then we're going to pull apart from the middle of our foot all the way out. And then we're going to, from the middle of the foot, we're going to reach in, dig in with our fingers, pull apart and hold for a breath. And then another part, no special way of doing this, just we're basically stretching the skin on the bottom of our foot, and that's going to tell the muscles to get busy and work. We'll do a bit across the heel like we did on the ball of the foot, stimulating our proprioception. Next, let's do our gait points. These are the points between the metatarsals. Metatarsals. I'm going to see, maybe there's one thing I can do to make this a... Okay, let's see. Does that look any better, folks?
Yeah, it's a little bit brighter, darker. Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah,
yeah, it's
you can
better.
maybe see my feet a little better. Okay, good. So now we're going to stroke up our ankles as we point our foot. So we're lengthening those muscles along the front of our shin. And then we'll do the opposite along the back of the foot. We're going to kind of give our Achilles tendon a bit of a pinch and press our heel away from us. And Lise, I don't know if you know the gaits. That's why I turned on the thing so you can see. The gait points are between the metatarsals. So you're just stroking lightly, and then also along the bunions along the outside of the foot.
Okay.
And let's continue doing a little of the foot flex. So we're going to find the tender spots in our calf, press in, and then press our heel away again. We're continuing to lengthen the muscles on the back side of the leg where they tend to tighten up the more stress we encounter. It's the tendon guard reflex is activated by stress when we go into fight flight. If you have sore shins, as I did in Berlin the first few days from running up and down stairs trying to find the studio and where I needed to be on the train station, which platform, you can do the opposite on your shins if those muscles are stiff by pressing in on the muscles of the shin and then pointing the foot. So you're again lengthening the front of the leg this time. And then let's get up and just notice if that foot, that leg, feels any differently from the other one. It's always great to acknowledge change when it happens. Consciously. And then we'll do the other side. So twiddling our toes to start with. Moving 2 toes at a time. Giving him a bit of a stretch. Then the kidney point in the ball of the foot, moving in opposite directions with our thumbs. And then we'll do the lengthening, pressing in, pulling apart, and holding. That's the thing that I find I always have to remind myself not to just, that I need to actually pause there to allow the muscles to get the message. And then we'll do the same thing we did on the ball of the foot, on the heel a little bit, just to re-stimulate that part. And then going to the front, we will do our gate points. Very powerful. This little gentle procedure is very powerful in its effect on our coordination. And my friend Irish tells me that it helps all the meridians that we worked with before I left to work together. So the neurovasculars and the other things we did, worked with an individual meridian, and this sort of stimulates them to get to coordinate. And then we're going to go, we might as well continue up the front of the foot, pointing the foot as we stroke up the shin, along the back of the foot, squeezing up the Achilles tendon as we flex the foot. Digging our thumbs into the calf muscles as we flex our foot. And then, we did that already. Digging into the shin muscles, if you like, and pressing the toes away. Okay, and then take a little walk around. Notice the difference. Notice how the floor feels. Notice that connection from the soles of each foot, both feet, up through the top of the head. Energy coming up the kidney meridian. And while we're standing, let's do our brain buttons standing up. And just sensing or imagining, if you don't feel it, you can sense it. But just trust by using your imagination. The energy coming into the kidney meridian from the earth, up the insides of the legs, and all the way up those channels on either side of the center line of the body, up to these points at the top of the kidney meridian. So we're into the last couple weeks of kidney season, of winter. And then switching hands. So I just thought we'd go back to some of the like structure and architecture of the body. So I thought maybe today we'd try a new body mapping. It's working with the talus bone, which is the ankle bone here that's underneath. Here you have the end of the tibia, and here you have the end of the fibula. So we can look at our friend Pierre Philippe. So here you have the tibia, and here along the side you have the fibula, and right under them, can you see this bone here? That's our talus. And that, as you can see, that little bone there is actually what the weight of our legs rests on.
Wow.
And it has a particular connection to the big toe and the next two toes. So I can see it really clearly here. I'm trying to get there. I think you can see now. So here's the talus, just the end of the talus. And then I've forgotten what this bone is called. And then that connects with these three. I think these are the little cuboid bones that connect to the, I could be wrong, that connect to the metatarsals of the first three toes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can see over here,
Oh, yeah.
on the other side here, you see the fibula is here. It doesn't really reach all the way down. This bone is our calcaneus. So this is the weight rests on our heel here, and then that articulates to this bone here, which I've forgotten the name of, and then that articulates to the two metatarsals of the fourth and the fifth toe. So the basic thing that I'm trying to say is we have our weight coming down from the biggest bone, the tibia, and it's connected directly to the first three toes, and then our heel bone here is connected to the other two toes. And here we have that, I used to talk about the rocker, the roller action of our, just don't want them to fall over. Okay. The roller action of our ankle. So that is the talus bone, not the heel bone. It's the talus bone that is that rocker. Okay, these are springs and stuff attached. Okay, so that's why I say it's really important that we want these two roller joints, the one in the knee and the one in the talus and the tibia, to be lined up in the same direction. Because we don't want to try and twist those rollers. There's some play in there, but we just don't want to put any more stress on it than possible. So the idea here is to find this talus bone, and we're going to, do our 2 points. One is going to be the front of the talus bone here. There's the side of it. Okay, so we're taking the front of it, and the other point is going to be our big toe. Okay, so we're kind of lining up those two things. So they may not be, the talus may not be facing it exactly, so just go with whatever you sense. And if you're not sure that it's absolutely correct, the thing is, you just go with it, and it'll work anyway. So, if you
So
want
is that
to,
below that, the ankle bone bit
pardon?
the ankle bone bit that sticks out on the inside of the foot.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it below that? Or
Yes.
is that it?
Mhm.
No, it's
It's
the
below that.
talus is below that because it's resting on
Right.
that.
Okay.
So if you've
Right.
got two tendons on the front that go down, and there's
Yeah.
kind of, you can dig your finger in there in between those two tendons.
Sorry, Talus.
Good thing you've got good balance.
Okay.
Okay, got you.
You can see when I flex my foot, you can see that tendon, and then there's another one over here. If I dig my finger in there and play
Got it.
around, you may be touching the talus bone, or at least you'll be
Somewhere
in the
near it.
area of it.
Okay.
And then this whole thing on the side is resting on top. So, Philip, can you come back here?
Like that.
And I find once you get used to this, this is an easy one that you can do, when you're standing, walking, anything. Okay, I yanked at him here. So here's the talus. So this is the inside of his leg. Here's that bone that you feel. And of course, when we have flesh and when we're alive, it's a lot, but the bone is,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
bigger. But here's this funny shaped talus bone.
Uh-huh.
And here's the side of it. So you see it is under.
Underneath it, yeah.
Except that it comes around it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the talus kind of fits into this groove under the fibula.
Mm-hmm.
So, does that help?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to do our body mapping thing. Pick one side. You can give your big toe a squeeze and you can dig into the talus a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just going to draw that line from the talus to the big toe and then back again. And you can imagine it going on the surface of your skin. You can imagine it going through under the skin, however you like. You can paint it with a paintbrush. Do some body painting there.
You're breaking up, Donna.
My voice is breaking up. No? Okay, Patsy and Lise say no, so it might be your connection, Ruth. You've frozen, actually. So, yeah, you're breaking up to us, Ruth, as well.
Oh, maybe it's me, Michael. Okay.
There, you're back.
Okay.
Okay, so we are just using our imagination to paint or draw, or you could imagine the talus has a little lead light on the front that's shining on the big toe.
Hmm.
So just for the ease of the flow of the class, I mean, we could be doing this lying on the floor, but I'm going to suggest that if this is comfortable for you, you just rest the back of your leg, maybe the calf or just below the calf, on your knee, and support your knee with your hands like this. And we're just going to do flexes and points, or reaching long with the toes and then reaching long with the heels. We're just going to do that movement on your own time, and I want you to continue to notice where your talus is pointing. Maybe it's pointing at the second toe. Maybe it's pointing at the big toe. I told you sort of we're using those 2 points, but it's not necessarily where your talus may be pointing at the present time. So just notice that front part of the talus, where it's lined up with. And maybe you can sense how it might change as you flex and then point. Obviously, it's making an arc. If it were a LED light, it would be shining an arc. And maybe you can sense that kind of rotating, or, yeah, I don't know what else to call it. It is a rotation. Going in this direction. And then we're going to do the other foot. So again, if you like, you can dig in between those 2 tendons and, you know, flexing or pointing your foot more. You may sense the movement of that bone in there, and give your big toe a squeeze, and then just in whatever position is comfortable, just draw that line in your imagination, or paint that line. And as always, notice if you feel anything shift in your body, and it could be anywhere. I just felt a shift in the muscles on the my lower leg on the outside. And then, once again, resting the back of our leg on our knee and holding onto our knee to support it, so you can just focus your attention on the talus as you do the flex and point. Notice where whatever point you've decided, whatever point you're paying attention to on the front of your talus, notice what it's lined up with, which toe. I think as we get older, our ankles are really important to us. I always remember watching my mother-in-law kind of what Bob would call stub around on her feet. She didn't use her feet, and she tended to trip and stumble easily. So there's a lot of the proprioception in our bodies is located in our ankles. So that's why I thought this is one joint we've never paid a lot of attention to. And again, you might notice the action of the talus. You might feel the action of the talus doing the same thing as my hand. You can even do it with your own hand. Oftentimes the movement transfers from one. So the movement in my wrist is very similar to the movement in my ankle. And then, putting our foot down, we can do our rotation. So this is, we've all done the falling of the alternate tibias forward as the body rotates. You might notice, and you could do this with your hands if you like, a similar action happening in the talus. So the tibia, the tibial tuberosity is falling forward, and as that happens also, there's going to be a very subtle and slight rotation of the talus. And I might suggest it would be easiest to just pay attention to that rocking movement on one side for a while, and then pay attention to it on the other, rather than trying. If you want to, you can try and track both of them moving alternately, but I find it easier to start with just focusing on one side. What is it doing? And then notice on the other side. And if you don't sense the movement, you can just keep going on with the 2 points, noticing the talus and the big toe on one side, And then notice the talus and the big toe on the other side for a while. And I have found after doing this for a while, like, a little bit every day, I start to get a nice sense of like, it's maybe just an image of me like lubricating that, joint in my ankle. Just feeling it becoming more smooth and sensual. What happens with our fascia is it becomes more hydrated.
Good.
And then if you stand up, and let's just maybe start rather than walking, let's just stand up and take 1 foot forward and then rock back. Rock forward like you're going to take a step forward and then take a step back. And you can pick either one. It doesn't matter. We'll just do it consistent on both sides of the other. Just watching one and feeling that movement of the talus as you're shifting your weight from your heel to the ball of your foot, as if you're going to continue walking. And then when you're ready, other foot forward and do the same thing. And then we can take that into a walk. Maybe starting slowly. You can follow 1 foot through all the way for a time and then the other foot, or you can alternate with the steps. So what we're doing is giving our mind, body-mind, the time and the focus to really fine-tune its awareness of that joint so it can better support us while we're walking and standing. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's have a drink of water and do our qigong. And we have so many movements that involve this joint in our qigong that we've really not paid so much attention to. So I'm going to find the music. I'm assuming you want music.
Yes.
Please,
Okay.
Yes.
Where did it? go to? There it is. Okay, so I'm just going to, I've got it set up and I've got it turned on. The Zoom always disappears when I do this. So just for a moment, just to make sure we're focused. Every time we do these movements, we are also, I mean, our hands are doing, but our talus is doing this. Yes?
Ankles.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm.
So you have so many opportunities and you just pick whatever you want, but I'm just encouraging you to do some body mapping while you're doing the movements. You know the movements. So this way you can refine the action of this joint. Okay, back to the music. Come on. I do not understand.
Share music, no?
It just, whoops.
There you go. Yep.
Here's a bit of a challenging movement because you're rotating as you step. Can you follow the direction of your talus as you do this movement? Change legs. Change legs. Change legs. Change legs. Change legs. Bring your legs together. Pause and change directions. Double it. And right up to the top and around. I can't see it. Okay.
Another drink of water.
Yeah.
That was great.
So, please give me a thumbs up if you're
2 thumbs up.
in balance.
Yes.
Very.
Great.
Much better. Much better.
Oh, and your voice is clear. It's all. I mean, not your voice, but your computer. That's
Not
great.
static.
Well, thank you,
Great
Dana.
job.
I have to say that the last little bit of the exercises of Qigong, I realized how out of balance I was. But we haven't seen each other for a month, so I think balance is something that you have to work on, often to get good at.
Yeah. So I'd like to tell you 2 quick little anecdotes that relate to this. So when I was in Berlin, it turned out that most of the time I had to get to the studio on my own. And it was a 30-minute walk from the train station. Once I got to the train station, got to the studio. And Berlin was cold and dreary, and sometimes, a wind. And I hadn't gone for a walk about once in the last couple months. So I was not in great shape when I got there.
No.
And it was walking on pavement, bricks, concrete, whatever.
Oh.
So I'll tell you that body mapping my talus as I was walking was really helpful. I mean, because I got the Shinsens because I got lost and I went into panic and so it was a real experience of what happens when you go into flight fight and things don't go well and your body's reacting out of a tight, contracted space. So it was a great lesson. And then having the body mapping allowed me to walk briskly and get to the studio on time, without while my shin splints were healing. And so that proved to me the fact that when we do this body mapping, it helps our body to create more space, get back to space in the joints.
Oh, good.
Because when we're in fight flight, the joints all contract.
Yes.
So it's a way to help create that space. And I can feel it now. It's the first time I've done Qigong at home since I got back. And I can feel how much better my ankles feel.
Oh, that's wonderful. That was a big benefit of you being so far away and having to walk every day.
Yes. So I've actually walked to the mailbox every day since I got back.
Good for you.
Wonderful.
The other thing that happened to me, and a friend reiterated the importance of this and the way working with our own nervous systems. Maybe you're aware of this. I have to it's been a long, slow process of me being aware of the state that my nervous system is in. So I got to Berlin on the plane. I'm in the airport. The friend that I was staying with wasn't going to be getting there for 2 more hours. So he said, well, you take this train and, or you take an Uber and go. Actually, it was called a Bolt. And the first one, it didn't work out because I hadn't set something on the app. I didn't know how to use it. And he expected cash. So he brought me back to the airport, called another Bolt for me. Couldn't find the Bolt that came, that was the color that it said it was going to be. Didn't speak English. And he asked me to show him something on my phone, and I couldn't find my phone in my pocket, and I panicked, and I went back to find it, and it wasn't there, and he said, I'm going. So there I am. I walked back again, or ran, to where I had gone from one Bolt car to the other. Couldn't find it. And it was freezing cold.
Oh.
And I was dressed for the plane out. So I thought, Dana, go inside, sit down,
Yes.
look through your luggage, breathe.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I got warmed up and I went back out, and it was lying on the pavement, which was black and shiny from the rain, and my phone is black and shiny. But now it's turned on. But anyway, it was this side up, and it just shows you that when we go into fight flight, we do not see clearly, we do not hear clearly, and what we need to do is stop, pause, and bring it.
Lucky the phone was still there.
Maybe you all know that, but it's sometimes hard to remember when you're in that situation, or at least it is.
It's a good refresher.
So just a little thing to always, that we have these tools, we have this knowledge, And the more we kind of practice it, like doing the Qigong and other things, practice ways of getting into this parasympathetic mode and this calm mode and breathing and being aware of our bodies, the more likely we're going to be able to access it in those times when we are panicked or anxious or whatever. So anyway.
That's excellent. That's
Pardon?
excellent. That's excellent. So body mapping, is that when you just teach us to do a movement? Is just doing a movement? Is that body mapping?
Body mapping is usually being aware of 2 points on the body
Oh,
and noticing their relationship.
okay.
So whether you draw a line or you notice, by Patsy, whether you notice that that the relationship between them has changed, have they gotten closer together, further apart, in a different relationship, then our subconscious mind, the densest part of our brain is the cerebellum, where we, does all the coordination of movement. It makes a more detailed map
Okay.
of the relation of those 2 parts together. And the thing that I don't really know why it happens, when the subconscious mind is doing that, the nervous system goes into parasympathetic mode. Just really focusing on 2 points help the nervous system to calm down and go into parasympathetic mode.
Oh, very good. Okay, that explains it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, have a great week, and it's nice to see you, and I hope you did have a nice time in Berlin, even though it was cold.
Yes, I did. I got to dance with 10 amazing young dancers.
Oh,
Oh,
wonderful. Sounds great and
Yes.
energetic.
Yes.
Have a
And
good week.
Thank you. You too.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Yes.
Well, it was a great class.
Yes, it was lovely.
Yeah, and I noticed even when we were doing Qigong, where we were moving forward and changing lane, thinking of that connection, my balance was much better.
Super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I need balance.
Yeah,
we all do.
We all do. Exactly.
So I must run. Thank you for a great class. We'll see you all next week, I hope.
Take care.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Bye.